Yes. Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Friday, January the 30th. And today we're going to do our frequent chat with our good friend Frank Burke up in Wisconsin. Frank, welcome. It's always great to have you.
Likewise, Sylvia. Great to be here.
Yes. Well, we have a little bit about the weather that I want to talk to you about. And then I do want to get into something more serious, which is what's happening in Minneapolis, not too far from Wisconsin.
Sure.
Um, but I want to begin with a historical note. On this day in 1933, that's what, 100? No, that's how many years is that? Is that 98, I guess? Or
Yeah,
90? 90?
97.
Okay, yeah. The Lone Ranger radio program was born. Eventually, 20 years later, it went on TV. But the first time around, it was on the radio. Now, I don't know. Was it a comic before, Frank? Was the Lone Ranger a comic
I
before?
don't think so. I don't think so. I think it started out on the radio.
Yeah. And I've listened. Yeah, I don't remember it, of course, listening to it on the radio when it was popular, but I have picked up some cassettes of the Lone Ranger on the radio over the years. And you know what amazes me, Frank, is how good the sound effects, those people who did those shows, I mean, the resources they had and how good they were, Frank. It was just
Yes,
remarkable.
yes. And they did them with the most primitive means. One of my
Yeah.
favorite stories is when Orson Welles' group, the Mercury Theater players, were doing the War of the Worlds. They needed the sound of the Martian craft opening the hatch so the Martians could get out. So what they did was they went into the bathroom and one of the technicians opened a jar in the toilet bowl and got the sound of the twisting glass and tin and the reverberation in the toilet.
Oh wow. But think how imaginative you had to be.
Yes,
Because I mean, these are ideas that very often would come on the spot. You know, you'd be sitting there saying, well, we got to come up with this sound. How do we do it? So you're just sitting there coming up with all kinds of different ideas. It reminds me of the Apollo 13 movie
yes,
when the flight director puts everything on the table that they have up there. Remember that scene?
you
And
bet.
he says, we're going to bring him down with what they have up there because that's all they have. And he put everything on the table and he said, now let's see what we can do here. That's when they were having the oxygen problem and
Yes,
they were trying to come up with a filter, remember, for to battle
very
the,
well.
yeah. And in many ways, outside those guys did it on the radio. They would literally say, okay, what do we have to come up with today?
Yeah.
Well, we got to have a door open. Well, let's see. Let's think about this. They must have been incredibly imaginative people because today, whether it's movies or radio or whatever, everything, I mean, it's so much easier today. Everything is pretty much done for you, Frank.
Yes, and the thing is that when you listen to the radio shows, and Peg and I do, we have a bit of a library of them, especially the Christmas shows.
Mm,
Uh, it's yeah, it works. It works even today. Even today, the believability of it, the honesty of it, and the humor of it is all
right,
there. It's
right.
all there.
No, and it's interesting because in the 70s, I think it was in the 70s, CBS Radio Network started
Yes, the
a
Radio
week.
Mystery Theater.
Yes, and they at least when I lived in Baltimore, they started at I guess 11:30
Mhm.
because you would always catch it after the baseball game. I mean, it's crazy. I remember going to baseball games, and on the drive home, you'd be listening to the mystery. Uh, but they had that on the air for quite a while. They must have had
They
quite an
did.
inventory of them, and they were really good.
They were excellent. E.G. Marshall was the host,
Hmm.
and they had a number of horror shows on there. And there was one individual back at that time. named Stan Freberg. And Stan Freberg was just fascinated with radio and sound. And one of his big things was launching a gigantic ball of ice cream into Lake Michigan and dropping a cherry on it from a helicopter. And, and it was all the sound effects to that.
Yeah.
And he did some great horror ones. One of them was, because it's the world of the imagination.
Sure.
You have to imagine it. It's not just being shown to you. And one of his great horror stories was The Man Turned Inside Out.
Wow.
And wow, can you imagine that?
Yeah, no, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
You're piquing my interest. I should listen to them. But another experience a little bit about the imagination, not with the radio. When we were in school, we had to read all these classics, and one time we had to read Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne.
Sure.
And I remember in the class, we do book reviews or we just talk about it, and the teacher one time said, "Can somebody draw the submarine or the Nautilus? What do you think it looks like?" And the kids would go to the board, myself included, and everybody had a different picture of it.
Yes.
And we were all reading the same book.
Yeah.
Now some of us, myself, honestly, I was a little bit influenced by the more modern submarines. So mine was a little bit longer than maybe the Nautilus really was supposed to be. But every kid had, and I just thought, years later, I think about that and I go, wow, how we tested our imagination at one time. And now we just watch TV.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Fascinating.
It really is. Well, anyway, from the Lone Ranger, let's go to the winter. We had some nasty weather down here. We had 4 days of no schools, 3 days of no businesses. Well, the entire weekend, last weekend was pretty much shut down every day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday shut down most of the businesses because we had ice on the streets.
Sure.
And then Wednesday afternoon, it began to melt a little bit and it re-iced again on Wednesday night. Now it's okay. Now everything is clear. And all we're expecting here is just some low temperatures over the weekend, but I can live with that, Frank. Because you can always turn on the heater at the least.
Right.
But what was it like up in Wisconsin?
Well, we had some snow. And we've had more snow, more of it in the earlier part of the month. But more snow in December, I think, than we had all last year. But it got quite cold. There was this Arctic blast that came in. And a week ago yesterday, the ambient temperature was 19 below, and the wind chill was 32 below. And, it's cold. You have to be careful of frostbite. But to be honest with you, if you live in a cold climate that can get cold, when you go outside, you don't say, "Oh boy, this feels like 32 below." You just say, "Wow, this is cold." Right. And you walk the dog and you watch until he makes, movements with his paws that say, "Get me back in the house."
Right.
Do
you use your fireplace much, Frank?
Oh, we use it every night. It's a gas fireplace.
Okay.
And the way some people watch TV, we do watch TV, but we normally have it on every night about 5 o'clock. We'll come down and turn on the fireplace and sit together and talk. It's one of our end of workday rituals. It goes back.
But is that firewood or is it a special wood that they have?
It's gas, actually.
No, but that's the fuel. But the wood that you put on there, is it firewood or is it a special wood?
Well, it's actually.
The pieces that you put in the fireplace.
Yeah.
Do you go outside and you cut them, or is it something?
No. You wouldn't do that. A gas fireplace uses artificial logs.
Oh, okay. That's what I was thinking.
They look like logs,
right?
And you have I would, for want of a better word, it's like cotton or lint that you put over the orifice where the gas comes out. and that makes it look like embers. It really does.
And is it warm? I mean, does it generate heat?
It generates some, not a huge amount.
Right.
They do have them where you can get an insert with a fan that circulates the air,
Oh, okay.
and
Okay.
that brings out the heat. But we
Yeah.
really don't need it. We have a forced air heating system,
Sure. Sure.
and the house is warm.
Yeah.
Because the
Well,
house
I
was,
mean, look, in these days, the only people who would have to heat exclusively out of a fireplace would be people who don't have heat,
right, right.
because I mean, the mechanical heat is much
Yeah.
better.
Well,
Yeah.
this is one of the first and greatest failings of Mondani, the socialist in New York,
Right.
who
Right.
said, leave the homeless people to their camps on the street. And over 10 of them, 19, might have frozen to death. Whereas before that, the cops had cleaned up the camps and
Right.
were,
Right. At least the police would pick them up and put them in a church or something
yes,
so that they're
yes,
not outside. Yeah. Now this is the same Mandani that just came out, I think, yesterday, saying that the city was facing a fiscal collapse or something,
right.
and it makes you laugh because he promised everything for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, he promised a chicken in every pot, a sandwich on every plate.
Yep.
You know, a glass of milk. I mean, this guy promised everything.
Free bus rides,
Free bus rides, yeah,
city-run supermarkets that were free. Yeah.
yeah, amazing, absolutely amazing. Well, let me pick your brain a little bit about Minneapolis, Frank, because obviously it's not far from you. Well,
Right.
I guess, how far is it? 300 miles, maybe? Not even
Something
that
like
far.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
because
we
I
know,
remember when our family lived in Wisconsin. I mean, early on, when we came to the United States, we actually drove to Minneapolis a couple of times to watch baseball games.
sure.
So we actually went up there to watch baseball games, and we drove from one time from Madison, the other time from Milwaukee, and I thought Minneapolis was absolutely beautiful.
Mhm.
I mean, the city was just absolutely lovely. I mean, it's just a lovely. Now we didn't go in January, okay,
Right.
but we went when it was, I guess summer, baseball season. But it
Yes.
was just lovely. It was just absolutely lovely. I thought the city, the parks, everything. And I was talking to a friend yesterday, and he was telling me that, or not yesterday, but the day before, I guess. And he was telling me that the city has really gone downhill in many ways
Yes.
here recently. But I sent you an article that came out where the head of the police union in Minneapolis, St. Paul, was complaining that they were not allowed to work, basically, and put
Yes.
order.
Yes.
And I contend that that's what the problem was up there, that the police was not allowed to do their jobs. And as a consequence, these two people are dead because of it.
Yes.
Because in a real world, they would have been arrested, or
Yeah.
maybe they wouldn't have even tried to do what they did because they knew there'd be consequences.
Hmm.
So here, these two people, one was driving a car and the other one, of course, got into a fight. But in both cases, if the police had been allowed to do their jobs, they would have kept the ICE and the protesters apart like they do in Texas. And you wouldn't have had, these two people would probably be alive today, Frank.
I think you're right, very definitely. Our younger son, went to the University of Minnesota in Minneapolis, St. Paul. And we used to go up there, of course, to visit. And you're right, that university is so beautiful. It's on a par with the old Ivy League schools back east. And I can say that because I went to Pennsylvania. And it's just a gorgeous campus. But the city has always had a tradition of a leftist kind of mentality. And I think this is one of the things that really brought this about. And the fact that they imported these groups, Soros backed and other, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, they hire protesters and they bring them in. And I think there are some people psychologically, if you look at the mix, there are a lot of middle-aged and older men and women. And
Right.
I think these are people who, they remember protesting Vietnam, and it's, boy, I'm going to
Right.
get out there again. I'm going to be a kid again.
Right.
Well, this is a little different. This is really,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Well, I think different kind of protest also. I mean,
yes, yes,
um, but one thing that did surprise me a little bit, Frank, about Minneapolis, um, I heard the mayor of Minneapolis say that their population is 435,000 people. I was surprised. I mean, that's not a small city, of course, but that is not, I thought Minneapolis was at least a million. Now, maybe the metropolitan area is.
I think it is the metropolitan area. Yeah.
Yeah. The
And would include
metropolitan area,
people,
because that
yeah,
includes St. Paul too, you know,
right.
the metropolitan. But I mean, 435,000 people, it seemed to me I mean, Fort Worth is larger than that. I mean, Fort Worth
Yes.
is a city of almost a million people now.
Yeah.
Um, San Antonio is larger than that. Well, Dallas is, of course. Arlington, Texas, between Dallas and Fort Worth, is a city of almost a half a million people.
Yeah.
So I was just surprised. I mean, I didn't think Minneapolis. I thought Minneapolis was bigger. That's what I'm saying.
Right. I think that basically one of the reasons you have that dichotomy there is the fact that Texas is growing. There are a lot of businesses that are relocating to Texas. And Minneapolis, I think, from the standpoint of economic development for taxation and other reasons, has been more or less stagnant. You have some big companies, or General Mills, Pillsbury. It was always a big milling center, and you have 3M, Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing. But you don't hear a lot about new and exciting stuff going on.
Right. Well, I understand that Target was founded there. I think
Yes.
was started in Minneapolis. I understand they've moved out somewhat too. And when they had the riots in 2020, they did lose business.
Yeah.
Businesses left Minneapolis itself, and it's really a shame because, as I said, my memory of it was such a beautiful town.
Yes.
And then, of course, everybody remembers the start of Mary Tyler Moore, where
Yes.
you get a picture of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and I just thought it was absolutely a wonderful place. Now, another point that I want to pursue with you, Frank, is the mayor and the governor. I believe the Department of Justice is going after them. I've heard
Yes.
this because of, I guess they're accusing them of insurrection. Basically, that's what they're
Mhm.
doing. I don't know how far that particular case has gone or if it even got started. But I think that if they took the mayor and the governor to a court and actually would challenge them with violating federal law, I think that they lose because they
I,
clearly, I mean, you cannot defy federal law.
no, I agree with you completely. It's the fact that I do not understand how places can declare themselves as sanctuary cities. In effect, you're saying, we're not going to obey the federal law. And I think, in 1861, we fought a little war over that.
Right.
There was,
Yeah, we did. I think we did. It was a 4-year war, was it?
I think it was rather unpleasant.
Yes,
But
it was.
but if you look at that mentality, this started, like they all do with little things. And I'll
Mhm.
tell you one of the little things: marijuana.
Mm,
If you remember, marijuana was on until Trump deregulated some of it. I think
right,
some of it may still be on. That was a federally classified as a narcotic, and
right,
it was legal to have it. And then some states said, no, we're going to legalize marijuana. And they did. And
right,
unfortunately, nobody said anything.
right.
Nobody said, oh, no, you're not. This is against federal law. And as a result, well, let's see what else we can get away with. Well, if we have a riot, I'm not for this, but in the 19th century, and early 20th century, if you had an out of control riot, the police or the National Guard could be given orders to shoot to kill. And believe me, that stopped the riots.
Well, isn't that technically what the Insurrection Act does?
Yes, among other
I
things, yeah.
mean, yeah. I mean, in the Insurrection Act, you have that kind of incredible authority. I just, for the life of me, I think of those poor police officers in Minneapolis who must have been dying seeing the chaos in the streets and wondering, why are we not allowed to put this out?
Well, look at the precedent that was set by Waltz with the George Floyd riots.
Yes,
You had
yes,
people literally declaring an independent government for a 3 or 4 block area
right,
and burning down federal buildings and police stations. So if you were a police officer in Minneapolis, you had to be totally demoralized. They're burning down your workplace. And you know what? Nobody's saying, go in and get them out.
right. Well, something interesting too that the mayor was saying they only have 600 police officers. Well, I'm
Yeah.
surprised they have that many.
Yes.
Because who in the world would want to be a police officer in that atmosphere?
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, why would you? I mean, I guess a police officer puts his life on the line every day.
Yeah.
And if you're going to put your life on the line every day, you want someone who's going to have your back.
Yes.
And I mean, if I'm a police officer, I don't trust the mayor or the governor, frankly, for doing that. So I just think that when you compare how ICE works just about everywhere else. Now, for example, I just read the other day, Frank, that Houston, Texas has had the largest number of ICE operations in the country. Now, some of that is because of the larger population, the border, obviously.
Proximity to the border, yeah.
Yes, some of those reasons. But you didn't hear about any of this.
No.
I mean, there were some protests. I'm not going to deny that. But the Governor Abbott came out and said, look, you want to protest? You can protest all you want. You want to go on TV and call them Gestapo? Go right ahead. But don't touch a police officer. Don't block traffic. Don't mess with the operations underway. Right. And don't start going into businesses, like they're doing up there. And you know what? His threat was enough to keep everything peaceful. And there were, I think in Austin, there was this is a few weeks ago, there was an anti-ICE protest, Frank. They just marched down the street.
Yeah.
They did their shouting. They went home. The police was there. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Nothing, let's just say nothing like Minneapolis happened.
Right.
So,
well, this is what happens when you have a mayor and a governor who are encouraging all of this civil disorder. And it creates the impression, wait a minute, we can get away with anything. And you have to look at the objective of it. And the objective of it is to tear down this country. That's right. The larger objective.
I think so. I believe that now.
Yeah.
I really do. I believe that now. I think there's a larger objective here. This is no longer, we care about these people. They don't care about these people.
No.
They don't care about these migrants. I mean, they don't care about it. They're just being used.
Yes.
But I think you're right. I think there is I was watching Bill O'Reilly the other night saying that there's some money coming from China for this.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's
I mean, not from China government. I mean, from, I guess, players in China.
Ultimately, that would be the government.
Yeah, well.
Because they run everything. And it's like what they're doing in terms of coming over here and having children, bringing them back to China, educating them as communists. Then when they're 18, they come back here. And as a result, you've got over 1 million, by some estimates, Chinese communists capable of voting, capable of swinging elections here in the United States.
Right. No, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's the birthright thing you're talking about, right? Birthright
Yes.
citizenship, which is, by the way, in the court. I mean, at least the Supreme Court is looking at it. I think they may be issuing an opinion before June on that, which I hope they issue, because to bring in the 14th Amendment for birthright is absolutely ridiculous.
Yes.
The 14th Amendment had nothing to do with that kind of an issue. It was all about the people in the plantations who
Yeah.
were given their freedom, and all of a sudden, what do you do with these people? You know,
Yes.
what kind of citizenship do they have? So, but anyway, I think that the situation up there is going to calm down a little bit, because I believe that maybe, gosh, we just got a note from somebody in the Philippines that said, "Hello, guys, how are you? I'm from Philippines. I just see you're live. That's why I click it." Well, welcome and hello to the Philippines. I mean,
Thank
that's
you.
yeah. Thank you to the Philippines. We're
Yes,
also
we are
getting
flattered.
yeah, we're very flattered. We're also getting notes from my good friend Sally, who used to be a school teacher,
Oh,
and I think she knows a little bit about maintaining or keeping chaos
yes, yes.
away from the class. Yes, I think so. But anyway, Frank, I want to thank you for your time, for joining us today in this quick notice. But you're always great. You always come on when we
Well,
need you. And please keep Wisconsin weather out of North Texas. We really appreciate that.
I will. And just want to say to all of you down there, God bless, and take care. Uh, the weather will change. It always
Well,
has.
and we want to say a special hello to the Philippines,
Yes,
who are joining us today. I'm flattered by. I don't think I ever had anybody from the Philippines before. I mean, there's a lot of people from the Philippines
yes,
in the United States, of course, and that's great. They're all very nice people. The ones
you
I've
bet.
met are wonderful people. But we never had a listener from the Philippines, and so we welcome that. I hope she tunes in again. Frank is such a good-looking guy. Look at him.
That
Look at
I
Frank. Yeah, look at Frank. He's such a good-looking
yeah,
guy. You
please.
know. Yes. Well, Frank, thank you. Have a great Friday, and I know I can always count on you on quick notice. So when
You
something
can.
happens,
All
we
right.
get a hold of you.
Have a good weekend and take care.
Thank you so much. Our good friend Frank Burke up in Wisconsin. You know, it's interesting. I never met Frank in Wisconsin, even though I lived up there. But obviously, we have that common ground. He's not originally from Wisconsin. He's actually from New York, but he ended up in Wisconsin. But I never met him in Wisconsin when I was up there. But I did. I met him through American Thinker. That's how we met. And he wrote a great article about President Obama back in 2011. So I invited him to the podcast. This is when we used to do the audio. And I just loved Frank. I just thought, wow, what a great guest. So we've been connected ever since, and hard to believe, 14, almost 15 years now. We did have a chance to meet actually in 2021 when we were up there, and we had a wonderful time with Frank and Peggy, his wife. Thank you for listening. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye, everybody.